God damn, man, it's harder than a motherfucker out here, man.
I know. Shit.
God damn, look at Crotch Duster. Boy, them some weird motherfuckers
Man,
right there, dog.
fuck Crotch Duster, man. We need to get to Williamsburg land.
I know what the motherfuckers know how to get though, man. God damn, Williamsburg land.
I know, man. They got some fat ass pussy and some big ass titties in Williamsburg land.
I heard it was a motherfucker in Williamsburg, dog, with a titty so long.
Damn, we done ran out of mammal sauce.
God damn, we damn sure gotta get some mammal sauce. Plus them hoes, dog, they fiending for that mammal sauce, dog.
We need some mammal sauce.
Like when them hoes get on that mammal sauce, them hoes just get the cutting theyself and motherfucking pissing all over the motherfucking place and shit, man. I mean, the shit is just, god damn, we need some mammal
sauce.
For real, man. I need, hey, Williams, dog, check this out. I need 4 orders of mammal sauce, dog. Hurry the fuck up, man. Get there and get your ass back, nigga.
In case of emergency, gotta use mammal sauce. It's my everyday supply. Without it, I be lost. Trust this motherfucker. I use it in my hair. I use it in my balls and even play solitaire. I put it in my milk to make my breakfast straight. You must think I'm joking. I use it to masturbate. But when I have a party, I spice the drinks. Mammal sauce is the greatest thing since the Cuban link.
You might be thinking, are you seriously playing air guitar whilst holding a guitar? Yeah, I am. Yeah. Oh! All right. How the fuck is an hour ever? How are you? Nice. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see everyone, and it's good to be here. And I'm having a pretty good day today. I am on holidays, and it was I love rainy days. I love This Danzig impression just gets me every single time. What? How are you guys, man? It's been a bit. I know I promised next stream was gonna be a Doom Tomb, and today is not a Doom Tomb. I apologize. It's been so hot here that you just couldn't. You couldn't stream. There's no way I was able to stream. It was impossible. Yeah, it was just too fucking hot in here, and I had so many fans going. There's one fan going right now, and I can hear it in my headphones, so you guys can probably hear it, and that's annoying. I shouldn't have to do that. Wish I had air conditioning that was like, you know, like central air style. But I am not that rich. What did I do today? So here's the thing. We tried this guitar. I tried this guitar out. I put my Bill Lawrence. I've had this one Bill Lawrence USA L500 XL for years. I've had it for years. I've had it for 15 plus years. And it's been from guitar to guitar to guitar to guitar to guitar to guitar to bouncing around to guitar, doing all of its things. And it was great. It's terrific that it's always done the work. But then I go to put it in here for the second time, and something was wrong. It was really, really noisy. And on top of being really, really noisy, there was something, something was wrong with the pickup. I was like, I blamed everything. I couldn't blame the pickup because I'd installed the pickup so many times. It couldn't be the pickup. It can't be the pickup because I've installed it literally probably 15 different times in 15 different guitars. It's been a workhorse, man. And then all of a sudden it wasn't. It was the pickup. I rewired it like 3 times. So annoying. So irritating that that I had to rewire it so many times to figure out it was the pickup. So as mentioned in a previous stream, I had to bring it to my mentor. And because I wasn't sure if it was the pickup or not. I'm not that much of a ninja with the multimeter. I had a funny feeling, underpowered, check. It was only running 1 coil, and I thought he was going to give me such a bunch of grief because it's a single pot and a single humbucker. Who screws that up? If you've been I'm sorry, but if you've been doing your own wiring or even doing any soldering whatsoever for even longer than a year, that is a very easy wiring diagram. If you're ever thinking about installing your own pickups, we can talk about that in another stream. But so what essentially, I had to ditch that pickup. I had to throw it away. I was really sad about it, but it was broken. It's gone. And they're hard to find now too. Shit. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Anyways, so I remembered that from a previous iteration of thoughts on this guitar. I had a yellow pickup that just didn't match in color-wise quite as much as I wanted at the time. But then I tried it out this time, and to my eyes, it's gotten better somehow. I don't know. It's not as noticeable to me. So we're trying out a classic Dimarzio Super Distortion in B-flat, doing some low tones, maintain low tones. You don't think I've many times I've busted out the Rumblebee, but the last couple times it's had this pickup. It's had this pickup right here in it. This is an Aurora Tone Colossus 6-string meant for the low. And this just didn't work out for this particular instrument. So this pickup is going to be on the move. If you're interested in acquiring this Aurora Tone Colossus 6-string baritone, made in Canada, loved the pickup, but didn't love it for this guitar, and I have nowhere else for it to go. So off it goes into the world. You can go to Aurora Tone's website, which it should be available in. It's available in our. Let's go back to the start of the stream. It's right there. It's AuroraTonePickups.com, I believe, and check out the specs on this. Very, very cool pickup. Very, very, very punchy. Go and check out. They've got all kinds of different stuff that you can check out there on the Colossus. But for those of you interested, do come at me because I think maybe we can figure something out for this. theampsimuniverse@gmail.com. All right, so we're going to check this out. I also got a new tuna. Cheers to that. I was at the guitar store today, and I like to support my local guitar store. He had some used EMGs there. I was like, hey, how much for that? They're a used EMG 81. And he told me a price that did not make sense. So I said, no, thank you. I put in a request with EMG for some stuff, but have not heard. So normally when that happens, it's just, we've helped you enough this year. Contact us in the new year sort of scenario. So, yeah, what's going on, everybody? So we're just hanging out today, testing. So yesterday was my birthday. I was going to come on yesterday, but I just felt like leaning into the couch yesterday. And after volunteering for the day, I say volunteering, but really I'm volunteering for myself. As mentioned, we are building a sick disc golf course right next to the largest freshwater lake in the world. So it's a breathtaking experience, being just sitting there doing work, and you are literally 15 feet from the largest body of fresh water on the earth. On this earth. It's pretty cool. All right, let's see what we got for some tones. Yeah, tones out of the start here. No. All right, that's pretty punchy so far. Right out of the blocks, nice and punchy. Admittedly, did not think this was going to shred this hard. I did not. I didn't think this was going to shred quite this hard for the lower tunings. A lot of people think that the Super Distortion's a boomer pickup. I've seen that said before. The Super Distortion's a boomer pickup, bro. What's a boomer pickup? What does that mean? What does that mean exactly? I also spent the day putting my Seymour Duncan Invader red back into my red Strat. So tomorrow you'll see me on here likely battling the height on the Seymour Duncan Invader for the 15th time and saying, I'm going to give up on this pickup and never use it again. And then I go back to it like a year later. Same thing every time. I can never get the height right on this pickup to where I'm super, I'm really comfortable with everything. My understanding is you actually really have to scoop everything out considerably with the Invader, and you have to kind of alter your usual go-to amps, your gear settings. So we're going to find out tomorrow. I've got it in a red Strat. I would have had that done. That's why I'm a little late today. It's because I was trying to get that done to maybe even do it like a secondary stream today or something, but I'm just going to do it tomorrow. Needs a little work on the nut. So I'm going to figure that out. Then I'm going to come at you guys tomorrow. All right, so we're starting it out. We're just going to take this for a spin through some really rad plugins that I set up for the purpose of world domination. We've got Fortin Nameless Suite, the original, not the X version. I like this version better. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I can't put my finger on it. Just like it better. Amp knob. The fucking knobs. The knob. Amp knob. BDM 410 JVH. That whole thing's your name, huh? Wow. Matt, like that, that's a lot. That's a lot to say. Like this, I mean, RG3. This is back in the day when RGs just had simple names like RG350M. RG. Not yada 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 you. It's all right. We're starting things off with the Ampcraft, but we're also going to get to the Crunk, La Boga, Mr. Hector, Jambi. We've got Amp Suite Rev F. Gonna be here for a bit today, hanging out with you guys and just hanging out with some maintaining low tones. This is a shirt that my missus bought me in a place that literally a town called Dildo. And I swear, if they fucking put the algorithm on me, it's a city name. If there's somebody, there's no way they would hire anyone to watch this stream this small as mine. But still, I'm telling you right now, it's a city, it's a town, I don't know specifically where the town is. They drove through it. They were at a touristy type place and they saw a t-shirt, this t-shirt. And my missus said, yep, got to buy that for Tyler. If I tell him about this t-shirt and don't buy it for him, he's going to be like, well, why didn't you buy me the t-shirt? Why are you telling me about this shirt without a shirt in your hand? So she purchased the shirt and man, it's awesome. I'm very color coordinated today. Cody Stokes. Man, there's some serious teeth to this pickup. A lot of people call it a boomer pickup, and like the Invader, for example, the Invader is a pickup that is still to this day very popular with a lot of very contemporary and modern bands like metal and otherwise. Yet that pickup came out in the 70s, did it not? Let's find out. We're gonna find out. All right. When did the Seymour Duncan Invader come out? Thanks, AI. 1981. 1981. Known for its high outputs, thick low end, and crunchy treble, making it a popular choice for heavier music genres. Thanks, AI. Show me more. Yeah, why not? You have no more, but you offered me more. This is bullshit. All right, I'm just kidding. We're just chilling today. Hi, how's it going, everyone? We're slow today. That's okay. It's on. What's going on? I'm sorry it's not Doom Tomb. I'm sorry this is not the Studio Lord, but this is a guitar I did work on today, and I really wanted to play it in a stream today because it sounds really nice. So going back to it, people saying that the classic Dimarzio Super Distortion is a boomer pickup. I don't see it. I don't hear it. I don't understand what a boomer pickup is, or it's a boomer amp. Someone once called like the Marshall 800. That's a boomer amp. What do you mean a boomer amp? I don't understand what you mean. I have no idea what you're talking about right now. Can someone tell me what the bridge pickup is in the original universes that Korn used? They were Dimarzio. I'm just really curious as to which pickups, the bridge pickup in the original universe, or the universe, not the original universe, but the original universe 7s. What was the bridge pickup in that? Because I don't think the evolutions were out yet. I know Steve Vai liked to put the evolutions in his other pickups. By the way, the evolution is a fucking unbelievable pickup, and the evolution almost ended up in here today. It was funny, actually, how this came to be, because I never actually gave this a second thought. Once I said to myself it didn't match, I just never even gave it a second thought. I was really mad. I ended up getting this pickup for free, though, because it took about 9 months to get to me somehow, and the seller was just like, I don't know where it is. Tracking is showing this, tracking is showing that. I have no idea where it is. I'm going to refund you. If it ever shows up, just keep it. It's on me because you've had to wait too long. I don't care. So it eventually showed up, and I was pretty stoked about it, but it didn't match, which is sort of like, isn't that sort of fitting, right? For the pickup that I got for free. Of course, it didn't fully match the way that I assumed Dimarzio and Ibanez, by the way, are almost always going to match when it comes to their like the pickups, like their base colors. I do believe they coordinate on a lot of like when it comes to using like Dimarzio pickups. Oftentimes they'll use, when it comes to a colorful model, they'll use a color that they know will match something in the Dimarzio lineup, color swatch, if you will. So anyways, today, after this pickup rigmarole with this pickup, we sung Amazing Grace. I put it into the garbage. I was pretty sad about it because I really like the L500XL, and it sounds really good in this guitar. I don't know why it ever came out. But I was gonna go originally. I was like, okay, well, I've got a bunch of pickups up there. I'm gonna see what I have. I didn't even give this one a second look because again, I'd given up on it. I had a couple other pickups. One almost ended up in here, and then I just, because it'd been drilled out, I had to try this a completely different method of putting it, of filling the holes, and it was going to take a while. Then as I was rummaging around, I noticed this, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to find I know I have a black Evolution around the house somewhere. I looked everywhere. You guys remember it. If you remember when I first got the Mindsinger, the pickups that came in that guitar were just, I needed to figure out which pickups were going to sound good because the bridge pickup was not for me at all. And I put an Evolution in the Mindsinger, cannot for the life of me figure out where that bridge pickup went. Looked everywhere for it. So I said, you know what? Let's just try that yellow, even though it doesn't match. And then I'm looking at it going, well, actually, it doesn't look that bad. What do you guys think? Does it look okay? Let me know in the chat. Is there a sound difference between the original and the X version? Yeah, to me, there's definitely a sound difference. 100%. A sound difference, a difference in feel and response. Everything just feels different. And as somebody that has spent hundreds of hours playing around with the original Nameless suite, it was really easy. It's really easy, especially when you go to your settings. You know what I mean? Anybody that's used a plugin enough times, if you haven't saved them, you just have your settings sort of memorized. And I have my settings memorized for the Nameless suites. And then when I laid into the X version, immediately there was like right off the bat, right off the hop, there was about 10 or 15% of me that was like, something's not right there. Then there's an 85 to 90% of me going, that black look is really awesome. Guys, look at it. There's a little biohazard symbol there. Oh, holy shit. Look at it. It's crazy. They also had to change, I believe they changed impulse responses because the original had impulse responses from ML SoundLab. And I don't know if the new one does or not. I didn't look that up. I just know that immediately my settings, right down to the way I put the mics in, I could probably do it with almost my eyes closed. Did not sound the same at all. It sounded very different. It was a bit colder. Something about it just didn't fully fly. And I thought to myself, geez, is this just that there's so many rad plugins that have come out since this one that it's finally starting to show its age? No. I went and used the original version and it sounds exactly the same as I remembered it. It feels exactly the same as I remember it. So really, that's, Little Moth. What's going on, brother? Did I just kill you? I'm sorry. Guys, you're going to have to give me a moment. I can hear the of this fan, and it's driving me crazy. Okay, give me, just give me my quick 2 minutes here, guys. I'm going to have to go shut this off or at least turn it down and go from there. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Donut here. If you don't watch Donut Operator, you will not know to which I am referring. But if you watch Donut, let's hear, are there any Donut Operator fans in the house? We've been a fan of that dude since, like, geez, I think it was before COVID anyways. But it was COVID where we really got, excuse me. It was COVID where we really got into that dude, though. Anyways, guys, come on. Let's liven it up here. We got 7 of Hughes in the chat. And, guys, I'm excited to have each and every single one of you here. I really appreciate each and every one of you being here. Ah, that's what I did wrong there. Okay. Perfect. Okay. All right, let's continue to crush here and see what we've got. Like, this sounds pretty remarkable. Also, I really wanted to do it today, but has anybody tried those carnivore IRs yet? Let's go to carnivore impulse. Guys, I'm trying to type it with a pick in my hand right now. Sorry. Response. Whoa. The carnivore IR pack by Christian Gold. How much? 69, dude. Well, I'm definitely going to reach out to Christian to see if he would mind sending us something lovely, as I've worked with Christian in the past on several different things, actually, and have been friendly with Christian since way back in the day. So I'm actually going to see if he was even interested in maybe coming in, and having a chat with us as well. Wouldn't that be fun? Let's hear it in the chat if you guys would like. If you'd like him to drop in and say hello, let me know. I can see if I can arrange that. He's usually a pretty accessible guy, but also extraordinarily busy. I don't know where he finds the time to be half as accessible as he is, but yet seems like the type of guy that might even just put this on in the background and chime in. I'm going to see what maybe he thinks about doing that, because I'd like to test that IR. Not yet, a bit expensive. I mean, for something that's a brand new speaker, nothing out there like it, nothing else like it. There's not already, 15 IR packs out there based on the same speaker and cabinet setup. If it was $69 is a lot for an IR pack regardless. It doesn't really matter, guys. Of course, as per the usual, I'm messing around with volumes here for the vocals, so bear with me, please. All right, let's go back to it. I'm really happy with what the Dimarzio Super Distortion is giving me so far. So good here. Nice, not bad at all. We could talk a bit about pickup. Since we haven't really talked a lot about it, let's talk a little bit about swapping your pickups and a little bit about what you need to get started. We'll talk about that as we go today. Now, I'm biased when it comes to soldering. I'm biased when it comes to soldering units because, and there are reasons. Here's what I've learned. Buy something decent. Never really, when someone says go the affordable route, they don't mean go the El Cheapo, crazy cheapo route, because all that's going to happen is this. If usually with most things, when you try to go extra cheap on something, There are certain things that you can get away with it because it doesn't matter. Certain things, basically, here's what you might as well do. If you cheap out on a soldering unit, here's what you might as well do. If you get like the bargain basement I know that made in China is no longer really a put down because China's making some really, really great stuff. We'll say the bargain bottom basement price that you can, if you're like, I'm going to find the cheapest solder. I only need to do 1 or 2 pickups. I'm going to buy the cheapest soldering unit that money can buy. Here's what you might as well do. You might as well just take that soldering unit when it comes in the mail and you take it out of your mailbox and you walk right over to the garbage and you just throw it right in. That's all you're going to end up doing. You might as well spare yourself the frustration and just skip that step altogether. There are certain things where you cannot really get away with cheaping out to the craziest extent. There are ways to save money, the ways to do things, anything affordably, but affordable within reason. And soldering in units are one of those things. You need something you want something that isn't gonna just melt stuff, and you also want something that's powerful enough to where you can actually, solder a proper ground to a pot. Now you might be thinking, oh my gosh, that sounds really overwhelming. Really, wiring is not that overwhelming. I had one guy that told me, F that. I am not taking off that back panel no matter what. And if it's something breaks, I'm bringing it to my buddy because he knows what to do. That intimidates me, blah, 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 blah. But when nowadays a pickup swap, I was at as mentioned, my mentor, a friend of mine, he is like he's probably, I would say, the most sought after local tech here in my community. And he charges on average these days to switch a set of pickups from scratch, as in you walk into the tech, you hand him 2 boxes or whatever with pickups in it, and hand him a guitar and say, you put these in here. And he says, okay, that's going to take usually most of the time. Yeah, that's not a lot of work soldering wise, unless it's Fishman, in which case it could be a lot of work. But in most cases, that's going to cost you about $120 to get those pickups put in. So you're starting to price things out saying, well, if I want to try that set of pickups, that you're like, geez, it's going to cost me that much plus $120 to get them installed. It doesn't have to be that way. There are 2 ways that you can save some money in this situation. I'm going to tell you what those are right now real quick before we get back to the tones. You can learn how to install the pickups yourself all from scratch. Like you just take those 2 boxes and the guitar and you say to yourself, I put these in here. Or you can just do we'll call it the mechanical work, in the sense that you can remove the old pickups, cut them out, take get a little pair of little snippy snips, and just cut the old ones out, careful which wires go to what, and just cut the old pickups, snip the wires as to where they're going, although sometimes techs like it when those are in there because they can just kind of, oh, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. So it's really easy to just kind of get a head start and save a tech some time by actually installing the pickups without wiring them, and then you just have to bring it in for wiring. That actually is possible, and I've seen lots of people do that. In fact, I've done that in the past to save myself some money, and then it will actually bring that bill quite a bit, because the wiring is not usually the biggest problem. It's making sure the pickups fit is another headache in itself. Pickups are not, say it with me, folks, say it with me, pickups are not a universal fit. They are not, and never will be, never have been a universal fit. Some are just bigger and smaller in shape. Some are a direct replacement, like standard humbucker sizing. There's also a standard soap bar, standard like an EMG square sort of a sizing to things, and that's fine, but there's no real uniform sizing. And so sometimes you'll go to put, you'll hand those things and say, you put those in there, And then imagine, and then you get a text. You will get a text from a respectful tech. Some techs will say, well, he told me to put those in there. And if it requires this much work, like routing it and all this stuff, like if they have to start pulling out routers and shit like that, if it's not a direct drop-in replacement, you're take the money up. You're going up. You're going up. Up. You're going to go up another $50 probably for something like that. All of a sudden, but some techs will text you or call you and say, listen, guy, I'm installing these and they don't fit. And then they will text you a picture of them not quite fitting, or you could just drop by if they're in your neighborhood and see that they don't fit, just so he's not pulling one over on you. The guitar will require some modification. And the first time you hit one of those guys, you're going to realize that you don't have the tools for it. And I'll tell you the tool that you also need to buy when it comes to, if you're going to be doing a lot of these yourself, you're going to need to buy a rotary tool eventually. Now, back to the tones. Ton. Every pickup is different with the height. There is no universal, not even inside, sometimes inside the same company. Like, for example, Dimarzio makes all of their humbuckers in such a way that they do actually provide a uniform starting height, which I think is 2 millimeters on the bass side, which is your low string, and 1.5 millimeters on the treble side. And what you're going to need to really get your pickup height exact is one of these little things. So you can get them for about $5 on eBay. It's a string action gauge. You can get them in metric, etc., etc. Height from fret top to bottom of string, with your finger pushing down on the highest fret. So you're gonna push down on the highest fret like so, and then you're gonna eyeball it by taking this card. I use the little B measurements right here, and I just put it on the pickup and I eyeball it, and yeah, that's about 2 millimeters. And it's 1.5 on the other side, because I also just recently checked that. I just installed this so I know it's exact. Now, Seymour Duncan is similar with some of their pickups. Whoa! You stop it. Seymour Duncan is similar with some of their pickups. EMG is very similar in that, and so are Fishman's. Fishman humbuckers are very similar in the height you're going to use. But for some different, it really depends on the company and the pickup. So you're going to go online, and when you look up suggested, so you're going to say suggested pickup height, and then whatever pickup it is that you're looking to install or that you have installed at that point. And one of the things you're going to see most common, and I hate it, it's the you're going to see this a lot, and I'm going to put it in finger quotes. Oh, you don't need a suggested height. Just do it by ear. Just do it by feel. That's really just a cop-out for saying, I actually don't fucking know, but I want to seem like an elitist jerk. Like, how stupid are you? He doesn't even know. Stupid idiot doesn't even know how to height on a pickup. What an idiot. I obviously know. I have no idea. I obviously know exactly what I'm talking about right now. And if they get called out in the comments, then somebody will always step in front of them and stand up. And there's this growing movement of people that are like, hey, just use your ears, dude. And I don't like that, because there are very different heights. If you have EMGs, typically those are very close to the strings. And then if you have something like a Seymour Duncan Invader, you do not want to put that as close to the strings as an EMG 81. You don't want to do it, because that is close, brother. And it will actually it'd be so close, it'll create wolf notes and start pulling the strings right down into it. And what are wolf notes? Well, if you have a certain, usually it's happens more with Alnico pickups, but it's when you have a pickup and the height is wrong. Well, typically you're also going to find out, because what happens is it happens more with neck pickups, is if there's a neck pickup here and it's too close to the strings, it'll actually pull the strings down towards the guitar and create buzz up here. So if you're hearing buzz and it's located here, not here or anywhere except for right here at the highest frets, if you're getting buzz there, chances are your neck pickups are your neck pickup is probably too high. Hey, what's going on, Rudy? And I'm gonna play guitar at some point. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to move along. This is just for our initial couple of chugs, right? I also got a few new plugins. I'm very excited to kind of go over some things over the next couple of days. But let's go to the Fortin Nameless Suite. And I'm actually not even going to use their cab. I'm just going to continue to use my cab. Why? Because I want to. And damn it, it's up to me. I can build my own signal chain. I know right now Xander Banana's just like, yeah, you can. Preach on, brother. He loves building his own signal chains. That dude is a signal chain building aholic. All right, let's see what we got here. What do we have here? All right, see what's up. It sounds tight. It sounds lovely. That's awesome. That sounds terrific. So anyhow, some updates on situations we've talked about a lot in the chat. Number one, I've actually had a couple people have asked me, hi, how's your cat doing? How's Trigger doing? You know, he's doing great. We made a food change for him. We put him back on raw. We took a bit of a risk by doing that, as he's got an IBD issue. He is now eating the most expensive cat food that we could possibly purchase. He's eating Big Country. Shout out Big Country. Big Country Raw. He's eating Big Country Raw kangaroo lamb. I understand kangaroo, are an extraordinary nuisance in Australia, and they're violent. They hurt people. It sucks because you don't want to picture kangaroos like that, because they seem, or kangaroo? Is it kangaroos or roo? You don't want to picture them as like being like vicious animals, but they really are. So I don't mind. I don't want to feed them rabbit, because to me, I had a pet rabbit up until about a year ago, and I love rabbits. I love bunnies, so I can't feed them rabbit because it's tough. It's tough. You're thinking about that, right? In this particular situation, he's eating kangaroo and lamb, which is rather unfortunate. But nonetheless, he is doing great. He's eating like a horse. He's responded really well to treatment, and he's been great. So thank you very much. Another thing to update is, did the artist for the upcoming Wavemind Tone Suite, did this particular artist, my favorite modern guitar player on the planet, did he like the plugin? Yes. He definitely had revisions, which is awesome. You never want to see a first revision with everything looks great, guys. Let's get this ready to go and get it gone out the door, because you yourself know that this still needs multiple revisions if it's a beta. And this particular artist had a big old list of small but detailed revisions, and I love that about it. I love that when an artist gets a little bit more Guys, I'm going to try to change this mic setup a little bit here so you can see my face a little bit less. Oh. Nope. Sorry, guys. This has to change. I got to figure this out. Why you got to fight me, bro? All right, let's bring this up. I hate when it's right here because I feel like I'm looking over it. All right, that's good. I like that way better. All right, sorry, guys. Hold on, let me see what we got in the comments here. Thanks, Tyler. We'll try that. But yeah, go right up here if you're like, guys. I'm always the one to explain things in like a basic ass layman's terms way, and right up here in the search bar, anything we talk about it. And a lot of these things they have. There's so many things. There's so many people out there that have gone over this stuff and over it and over it and over it to the point, and they're a lot smarter than I am when it comes to things like, for example, string height and everything else. So please don't take my word for it. Go out, do your due diligence, and check out, the search bar at the top. YouTube is a wonderful place full of awesome free stuff. With 25K pots. Rudy, you like your EMGs, eh? Am I hearing Hatebreed in the back? Absolutely. We didn't tear it down, though, because it's just not in my schedule at the moment to tear anything down. I just really don't feel like tearing anything down at the moment. He says tear it down now, but I mean, I think that's at this point. I just turned 47 yesterday, and when you're 47 years old, you can't do anything now. Everything in my life needs to be planned in advance, and anytime I plan anything in advance, I hate it. I'm such an old grouchy prick. It's awesome. This sounds awesome, by the way, guys. This sounds crushing. Get a little more on a little more presence. Sorry guys, I'm just catching up in the chat. I got white putty on raw food. I got my white putty on raw food. Spoiled, but she's badass. Yeah, I mean, our boys, they're all on raw food. But he's just on this another universe of raw food. But he's 13 years old, and in my opinion, at 13 years old, he's my best friend in the world. We have 5, but he is just my best friend, and it's my best friend in the world, that cat. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure he is as happy as he can be for literally every day that he's got left at 13. Not that I've never done that before, but at this point, we've definitely stayed away from the really, really high quality raw food. And at this point, he doesn't really want to eat it. And if he doesn't want to eat it, I picture myself when I'm 65 years old. I'm not sure what 13 in cat years. It's not specific as to, it's not by like 7 or 9 or anything like that. There's like a scale that matches up timeline wise. And I think 13 rests somewhere in the ballpark of like 65 years old. So I picture myself as 65-year-old man and someone telling me, you got to eat this and only this. And I'm like, I'm 65 years old. I've earned the right at this point in my lifetime to eat what I want to eat. And I don't like this anymore. I'm not going to eat it anymore. That's the simple fact. The end. And, but however, we tried this. We went on an offshoot. It's incredibly expensive. But nonetheless, he ate it. He eats it like a horse. Like a damn, he's like an absolute unit with this stuff. So perfect. Perfect. This is beefy, guys. Beefaroni. Dude, if he's 13, joint supplements and all that, for sure. Why? Oh my God. YC Slime. My friend, you're not incorrect. My friend, it's 2025. Anytime GarageBand comes up, here's what I ask. It's 2025. Brother, you need something else. You need to move out of GarageBand. Get rid of the GarageBand. Grab yourself some Reaper. It's free to start with, but you want to spend $60 on the personal license because it's worth every penny and it's got a lot of great support. So get out of the GarageBand. Get out of there. The plugins that are built in to Reaper are fantastic. There are no amp. I think there is one amp sim you can get. Someone told me there's an amp sim that you can get with the Reaper stuff, but although it doesn't matter, you don't want any of that. You want free stuff that actually means business. And one of those free things that means business, I'll just chime into it right now, is the Nembrini Audio Crunk. Tons of freeware right now over at Nembrini Audio you can grab for, as mentioned, $0.00. We're going to take 8 seconds and we are going to set up this tone to absolutely destroy universes. And then we're going to add this pedal as well. Let's add a free pedal. Let's add the sword. This is also free, although there are many free tube screamers and such that you can use out there. We're going to use this one right here. This is called the sword. This is our plugin, freeware plugin that we did with Audio ways back when we first got this thing kind of going. I turned off the cabinet. You use my own cabinet. See what we got here. It might be loud. Hold on. It sounded pretty damn crushing. All right, so you want me to take you through the world of freeware? Have you tried any of the good freeware, or are we going from scratch? Because we can turn this into a freeware stream right at random, no problem. There's the few that we're going to go over, although I will suggest that, by the way, you should go into our collection of past streams and somehow search Freeware Friday, okay? Because in all the Freeware Fridays, we go over hours and hours and hours of content based solely on stuff that you can get for $0 and 0 fucking cents, which I love. And I always suggest when anybody first gets into amp sims, even always start free. Never start by paying money. I don't care what the guy at work says. Oh, the guy at work says, oh, you got to start with the neural stuff. I'm not sure why he's Italian, and I'm not sure why he's talking like he's from The Sopranos. Just follow me, okay? It's my channel. I'll make up the narrative, all right? That was fun. All right. Guy at work says, oh, you got to try these neural things before you start. Freeware. Who wants anything that will freeware? Why do you want this freeware crap? There's a lot of people that think freeware is garbage, and that's nonsense. It exists to draw people to the brand. That's why it exists. Because the developer's really nice and wants you to try their stuff. And if you go to Nembrini Audio and download something called Nembrini Audio Central, you'll notice there are a number of free plugins in there. You've got a Tube Screamer, you've got a Centaur, you've got this amp right here, a number of different things that are stacked in there. Okay? And get them all. This is one of them right here. This is the Nembrini Audio Black. This is 100% free. You can go get this awesome Proco Rat for $0.00. Okay? Check it out. Also, free from Nembrini Audio. It's my very favorite simple delay plugin. This is the Analog Rack Delay. Free. 100% free, Nembrini Audio. You're also going to want to go and check out the L12X. Okay? I would have tried that already, but we're in past that now. We're into the other stuff. But L12X, you'll want the Emissary Bundle from STL Tones. The Emissary Bundle. It gives you this fantastic impulse response loader here that I use every stream. That way, anytime I'm using an IR, it's through this guy here, and it's free. You can go get it right now. And it comes along with an amp sim called the Emissary. In my opinion, they should also throw a little Boosty McBooster in there, but it also challenges you. If you want to boost it, there's a ton of free pedals out there. My favorite of them being this guy right here, the Unified Preamp. Here's another one that we've got in today. We're going to use this one right now. This is called Jambi. This is free from VTAR. If you're a Windows user, if you're not a Windows user, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you on VTAR. But if you're not a Windows user, VTAR is the shit. This stuff sounds great. This amp sim sounds awesome. Check it out. Wow, this is already sounding super good. Super good already. Now, if we want to fire up the freebie Unify preamplifier with the traditional June settings, also sounding a little noisy there, so we're going to do this. I'm also realizing I left the sword on, which was kind of creating this nice vibe, but let's see what we got from Unify preamp now. It's super genty. Not really where I want to park my car right now. Let's go back to the sword. Wonderful sounding, isn't it? And this is 100% free. You can go get this for $0.00. Yes, $0.00 gets you this fantastic plugin. And I'm pretty sure Jambi is still free. At least it was not long ago. Holy fuck, this thing is awesome. I love it as much as the first time I tried it. This is meant to emulate, believe it or not, this is actually meant to emulate the Tool guitar sound, which is a blend of a Diesel and a Marshall. Marshall and a Diesel. I believe it's a Diesel VH4 Channel 3 and a Marshall Super Bass. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I have been wrong from time to time. I love pulling Jambi out and during streams, man. This thing is awesome. You know what I don't see here? I don't see a cabinet section. Nope. Ain't one there. I don't see transpose anywhere. I don't see a tuner. I don't see a 3D cabinet section of any kind. I don't see a lot of things here. You know what I do see? I actually don't see a whole lot. I see this weird looking amp sim. I see, but you know what the important thing isn't what I see. It's what I hear. And in this particular piece of wizardry, this thing sounds awesome. This thing truthfully sounds really, really solid, guys. And if you're one, that's why I always suggest when people get into amp sims, learn how to build your own signal chain. Don't get stuck inside boxes like these other folks. They start with suites and they never learn how to build a signal chain. And then they become extraordinarily dependent on these developers putting every single bell and fucking whistle inside these amps at these plugins as possible. Because if not, the whiners will multiply. It doesn't have this. I don't like it as much. Oh, when are we going to get this specific feature that will, oh my God, it'll save my whole universe. Why do we need transpose? Why? Why do we need transpose in every plugin these days? I can't tell you guys enough that transpose does not replace a low tuning. You might be able to get it there for a part or two, but if you're trying to go like E to B and record like really low tune stuff with a guitar in E, the resonance is not the same. There's one guy telling me that, oh, I do my bass that way. What are you saying to me right now? There is no comparison. There is no physical comparison. There is no otherworldly comparison between a guitar string tuned in E and a bass string tuned in E. The only thing they have in common is they're both strings. They're both manufactured the same way. It's like comparing myself to Shaq. You know what I mean? We're a little different, but we're still both human males, right? In this particular case, there's a huge difference. Do I have a Focusrite account? I do not. Sorry, guys. I'm actually not tuning in too bad for these. I have to say it. I've never been a real big fan of the Ernie Ball strings, but ever since I got off of the sit strings, I had to find a set for B flat that really, really felt right. And the Ernie Ball Mammoths, the Slinky Mammoths, are fantastic. These strings are awesome. There's a wound fourth. These things are deadly. 62 to 12s. They feel great tuned in B flat. Absolutely terrific for B flat. If you're out there and you love tuning your instrument in B flat, they might support A, but it's starting to get a little floppy at that point, boys, I think. So, Exhumed Corpse, my friend. I was thinking about you just recently, actually. We do not have to bring up specifics but I will tell you specifically that without bringing up specifics, I was on my way to get my morning coffee one morning when something disrupted my trip to McDonald's, and there was a few police officers there. And so I said, in the mix, I was looking around And I'm like, geez, there's this guy. There's a guy over there amongst the crowd. There's a guy over there amongst the crowd who seems a little who seems familiar. And then you came to mind. Not to say that Exhumed Corpse is a police officer. I'm just saying that in that entire rigmarole, I saw someone that looked like him. And I thought to myself, I haven't seen him in his stream in a while. And then here he is. Say his name and he shall appear. So I'm actually quite surprised at this point that the Dimarzio Super Distortion, the pickup that is a boomer pickup, this pickup, yes, this Super Distortion is one of the very first pickups designed to give you more, This thing was a beefy boy back in the 70s, and it's a beefy boy right now in 2025. Think of how long, that's quite the longevity in inventing a piece of technology, guys. Think of how long that's been around with no updates, okay? 0 updates. Okay? This thing has been around since the 70s, maybe even late 60s. Hang on. Let's go back. Oh, no. That's not where I'm at. Okay. When did Dimarzio release the... Oh, boy! Release the Super Distortion. 1972. Okay? This piece of equipment has been out since 1972, and it consistently is one of the top selling pickups in their lineup. And it has 0 updates. Sure, they've based lots of different pickups, lots of new pickups. Anyhow, nice to see you, Exhumed Corpse. Sorry for the kind of the weird introduction. I see people. And I see faces. And being that I know what he looks like, I see people all the time and I'm just like, yeah, that looks like this guy. There's also a guitar player in another band that actually looks just like Exhumed Corpse, but with like significantly longer hair. A Super Distortion sounds amazing in a Les Paul. I agree that those two things are meant to be together forever. It was made for Ace Frehley, so we can thank him for that, and I'm sure he still collects a nice royalty on that. I'm sure that it's not a signature pickup, but I'm sure that there's some sort of royalty paid out to Ace every year or every, biannual or quarterly or something to that effect. Show of hands in the chat. Who's even tried or even heard of the Vitar Amps Jambi? I notice it's just the EVA. Sorry, it's just the white EVH. Hold on, I got to go back and make sure that I read it all. Hold on. Wish I could get the Vitar stuff. I take it you're on Mac. We need a Vitar amp stream. Deal. Also, Revolt DSP has a free white 5150, 100% free. I'm talking with their head guy over there about doing something. He has a new product that's coming out, a new version of the Evo amp. So much free stuff out there now. It's remarkable. It's just the white EVH, which is great. So much free shit. Yeah, you're right. Man, I'm in an area where we are experiencing, well, not right in my area, but in the vicinity of sort of in my area, we are being affected by a lot of wildfire smoke. And man, it's just like consistent, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse, man. It's pretty out of control. Literally, I think the fires that they're again not super close by or anything, but that shit carries and carries and carries and carries and carries. And even down in the States, they get Canadian wildfire smoke. And then, of course, they have had their own wildfire issues down there. So cheers to everybody cheers to all the forest firefighters dealing with that stuff right now, man. It just, and my heart totally goes out to like the people, all the people and the animals and everybody that's being displaced by all these fires. It's insane. You finally, you grabbed the Solidus? Which Solidus? The VS 8100? I agree, man. That thing is a savage beast. But I will say though, guys, on the point of pickups again, I would really say that when it comes to switching your own pickups, getting a soldering unit that makes sense, something that makes sense for your budget. Weller is a brand that I've used for years and I trust. I haven't had a lot of soldering units because they're designed that you have them for a very long time. So I've only had two, and I've had two Weller units. All my friends that do their own stuff have Weller units, Weller, and they have multiple tiers in price. They do have very simplistic pen units. I would always suggest getting something that's multi-temperature. That way, when you're trying to do a ground on a pot, you can click it up to that higher temperature, do the ground on the pot, on the top of the back of the potentiometer rather, not the pot. Then you click it back to the lower temperature, and that way you can handle your small wire stuff and everything else. Otherwise, if you have one that's stuck like mine, always constantly stuck in the highest temperature, you have to have a very light hand on things. Otherwise, you melt everything inside of the pot. And I've done that lots of times. Get ready to burn your fingers. Lots of times, get ready to burn maybe your legs. Get ready to drop your soldering iron potentially on your foot. I know somebody that did that. He dropped it and it actually landed right between his toes, his big toe. And it knifed its way under his foot between his big toe and his second toe. It just like fell straight down and went like kind of like this under his foot. And so, man, like, be careful when you're wiring, but be ready. You're going to burn yourself until you get a little bit better at it. Once you get better, you'll be fine. I still burn myself once in a while. Yeah, man, Fishman battery units are pretty fun. But yeah, EMG quick connects are legit. EMG quick connects are so easy to put in. Don't let Rudy say there sway you at all though, because Fishman, they're on their own, are not easy to install. I heard someone say there's no difference between installing EMG and Fishman. That person is ridiculous. Because I can tell you right now, I listened to that and a friend of mine said actives are actives. It doesn't matter. They're all pretty easy to put in is what he said to me. No. Putting in Fishmans is a pain in the ass. There's a lot. This push-pull pots, man, are my kryptonite. Wiring kryptonite are push-pull pots. I hate doing push-pull pots. I used to hate it a lot more until I started I had to do more Fishman stuff, and then I really had to start focusing. And once I started focusing and really like just going in quick and doing all the little stuff really slowly rather than being in a rush, it was quite easy. But you have to go slow. And I would not suggest Fishman for anybody under a confident intermediate. Can we say that, Rudy? A confident intermediate is what I would say. If you're confident and intermediate and up, you're probably going to be okay doing Fishman stuff. But if you're at a beginner level, I would say don't do it. Stay away. Stay far away. But this passive is really easy. If all you're after, like the standard is standard, I call it like standard metal wiring, which is just single humbucker, single volume, no tone pot. Fuck you. You know, like it's simple as it gets, and it's really easy. Super, super easy wiring diagram, and they have really brilliant wiring diagrams on Seymour Duncan. Most companies these days, in fact, have wiring diagrams, like really well-made wiring diagrams. So that's pretty sweet. It depends on what Fishman product you're getting. Was it easy to install the rail hammers? Yeah, rail hammers are just like any other passive pickup. You just, two of the wires go together. One wire goes with ground, one wire's hot. And always never ever forget that when you're doing a humbucker, there are two, unless you're installing a coil split or something like that, two of the wires are going to be, usually they come stock from the factory already somehow tethered together so that it kind of shows you which ones. Sometimes they're pre-soldered. In the case of Dimarzio, they're pre-soldered. You just have to put we call them shrinky dinks or shrink wrap. That's one thing you're going to have to get some of as well. And what shrink wrap does is it insulates. It's going to save you a lot of headaches. As a beginner, you have to remember that your ground can't touch anything. You can't touch anything except for the ground. So if you have other things that it's making contact with, that bare ground wire makes contact with basically anything, and you're done. Okay, so get a little package of a multi-pack. You can get like 200 of them in multi-size pre-cut from Amazon for like $10. So get yourself some shrinky dinks / shrink wrap, and you'll thank me later. Solder, look up. There are tons of different types of solder. Look up the one that's best for guitar wiring or best for whichever purpose that you're looking at. It's available pretty cheap in various places. Solder is not expensive, but you're going to want a little roll of pretty decently high quality wire for when you're, setting up things and you're going pot to pot, or you're going from this or that. You need some, just random wires. You'll accumulate many of them over the years. So anytime, that's the other thing, is always save your foam. Save your foam. Always save your foam. Save all your foam. Like a little thing. And if you have a wife or a girlfriend, she's going to be like, why the fuck is there this box or a bag of foam? Just be like, this is my box of foam. I'm going to need it someday. Zombie apocalypse shit. Just leave it. I'm prepping. You're going to want to hang on to that stuff, as well as like stray wires and stuff. Hang on to that. Spare chunks of solder. Don't throw them away. Put them in like a little bag, and you can just use the spare pieces and stuff. Oh, YC Slime Ton. So you're into metal, hard rock, mostly. Okay, well, my suggestion for you is all these plugins will work just fine for rock and for metal, hard rock. I know I'm chugging quite a bit, as we do like to do on this channel, but in my opinion, you'll probably be all right. I'm gonna put some chorus in the mix. Just let me see what this is all about here for a sec. I love me some chorus out front of the amp for rhythm guitar, guys. Not tons of it, because we were doing this is left over from the Aussie stream. I just thought I'd leave it in there, and man, it's tight. Little out of tune. Got the new tuner. The old one is lost somewhere in the house, and then the backup is now safely back in its fucking place in the ugly backup bin where it belongs. I don't like that tuner much. I don't like it at all. Excuse me. Nice info. Thanks. My ex-wife calls me Shrinky Dink. The real reason I'm telling you guys, Put in the battery packs if you're playing. Well, you can't do 18 volts. I guess you could if you want to put 2 battery packs in your guitar. Does that work? Can you put 2 battery packs in the guitar? Can you do that? I like the Fishman battery system. Can you do the 18 volt mod though? Anyhow, guys, what's going on? My name is Tyler. Welcome to the stream. We're hanging out today. We're hanging out with this RG I got once upon a time from, I think I got this from Reverb back in the good old days of Reverb, but it was run by musicians before the Etsy people bought it and destroyed the company completely. That place is like a dirt mall now, man. That place is like maybe 20% of what it was in its heyday. And that place, Reverb, and I'll tell you what the downfall was of Reverb.com on an offshoot conversation. The Reverb.com, where they really, really lost, I think they lost focus. It was for musicians, by musicians, that were sick of being ripped off and screwed over on eBay and decided to, wouldn't it be cool if there was a better way? And for a while, Reverb.com was the shit. It was the place to be, like the place to sell your stuff. And if something went wrong, those guys went to bat. And then it got really popular and they started struggling to keep up with things at scale when things started blowing up. I felt that they started kind of lacking in that department. And what really sunk them, though, was letting it was their downfall. It made them a lot of money, but letting all the music stores operate, all the used music stores. I was fine with all the pawn shops and used music stores operating on there to sell their used stock. That I was totally fine with that. But it was when those same retailers, those same stores started putting their B stocks on, and there was no pictures of the actual guitars. It was just like the stock photo, and it just says something's wrong with it, but it doesn't show a picture of what was wrong with it. And that right there was against the Reverb rules. If there's damage, you need to picture it. There are clear pictures and complete photos of that damage or anything that's different from that guitar or that instrument in brand new condition. And they weren't doing that. But Reverb liked the sales and the money so much that they're like, nah, fuck it. We're just gonna screw it. We're not gonna deal with this, which kind of sucked. It really did, because I got screwed over really badly with a B stock. And that happened twice, and they did nothing about it both times. And it was kind of a bummer. So that's my little Reverb.com speech. But back in those days, boy. What reunion? Finally saw the Pantera set from Ozzy. Zach is choosing to play things in the way he sees fit. And no one's going to give him any shit about it. Because it's funny, though, because if Pantera had gone and hired some random, like one of the many Dime impersonators that are out there, there are some guitar players on this earth that their whole thing on YouTube and social media is being as good at sounding like Dime as possible and nailing the solos and nailing his playing and nailing his tones. And it's a big thing. Like, there's a very large group of human beings that are like vehemently loyal to and to recreating like Dime stuff. And that's great. I love seeing that. But you know that if the guys from Pantera, for starters, it wouldn't have worked without Zach Wilde. With his it was partially his blessing and him jumping on board that made it work in the first place. Charlie Benante didn't hurt, that's for sure. But if they had got anybody but Zach, I think it would have been a way harder sell. And we all know that. That's been obvious from the start. But let's just say they go and and let's say they went and signed up one of these guys out there. They did auditions, they did a reality show on, and they made a big deal about it. And they found the best dime impersonator, not like looks, and he's not out there, well, yeah, I'm doing like the same clothes and the pink beard. I mean, as far as playing is concerned, if they had gone out and got somebody that was really, really, really good at sounding and playing just like Dime and playing the stuff just like Dime, and I know that Pantera fans would have heard 4 off notes and that guy would have been written off and fed to the fucking wolves, man. If there was videos where there was 1 off note in a solo, or 1 bend that didn't go an extra half step, or 1 bar dive or if he took any liberties whatsoever, if any liberties whatsoever were taken by this human being, the crowd, the masses would have rioted and thrown that man into the gladiator pit with wolves and everything else. They would have torn that person to shreds. But Zakk Wylde can go out and mail it in. And yeah, people are talking about it, but no one really cares because it's awesome to see Zakk Wylde doing it. He's also doing it in a way that where he's like, I'm going to use all Dime stuff and Grady Champion's going to be the tech and all this other shit. And then he just slowly started taking things out of the rig and replacing them with his own stuff. That therefore changed the whole sound entirely, right? We're just on talking points today. These things happen. But that's what's been going on, guys. Love that guitar. Look, thanks, Mark Studios. I love it too. And it's funny because when I first got this pickup and I put it in, it looked orange to me. Something about it seemed off. And I was mad. I was angry about it. I put it in a box and never looked at it again until it came time to sell off some of my pickups. And I took a photo of it and I looked at it with just, but then today I had this mishap where I was like, let's find out. And then lo and behold, guess what? It's definitely a cash grab, but you know what though? Okay, put yourself in their position. You're getting older, guys. How many more years can you do it? You know what I mean? If you're in their position, if I am, and again, I'm speaking on my own behalf, but if I am, and these are the things that we talk about. If I was Phil Anselmo and Rex Brown. Hello. You're the best. The missus just got home with full snacks and everything for our ailing kitty. And man, he's in a great mood today. Anyways, if I was Rex Brown specifically, I did an interview with Rex Brown for Honest Samson Reviews. He was one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. He's so accommodating to me. And then actually reached out to me on a separate occasion via phone due to my career, what I do for a living. He was very interested in what I did for a living. He was thinking about something one day and decided to call me. This was back when he was doing his solo albums and recording in Nashville and doing a few other things. I think he was living in Nashville. I don't know if he still is or not, what the story is there. Anyhow, very, very nice human being. But if I was sitting around saying to myself, how many more fucking years can I do this? And people aren't buying albums anymore, so those royalties are not what they used to be. How many more years can I do this before I start? And you're seeing people around you, people you know, and people you've felt, the people that you thought were well off and secure for life, and people around you, other musicians, I should say, and you're seeing other musicians going super broke. You know, especially after COVID, man. Like, there are a lot of those older musicians and some of those older bands, like the 80s bands and stuff, 80s and 90s bands that are going super broke, ending up homeless and living out of like storage units and jam spaces. And there's one band in question, I can't remember the band, that's living literally together in a rehearsal space when they're not on the road. They tour because they don't actually have a place to live, and they just continuously keep touring, and they lose band members all the time. And interesting. So if I'm Rex, I'm sitting around thinking these things, and I'm not saying Rex thinks these things, but if I'm Rex, I would be thinking these things. I'm thinking to myself, well, listen, we had a big break there after Pantera dissolved, and we've been living on those royalties for a long time. And those royalties, people aren't buying albums anymore. Spotify is not paying the bills. Where do you guys think the Spotify money goes for a band like Pantera? I wonder. Does it go to the Pauls? Does it evenly get distributed somehow? Does it go to the estate? How does that work? I wonder. Anyways. So if I'm sitting around, I'm thinking, yeah, it's time to make a move. And that thing that came up, that idea, people have wanted to see this for years. People have wanted to see Zakk Wylde. And people have been saying for years that the only way it would work is if Zakk, it's only going to work if Zakk does it. So they knew what they had to do. The rumors were out there that they were going to go and get the guy that sang and played guitar. He sang in Damage Plan and then played guitar for Rob Halford or something like that. There was a story that maybe they were going to get him, and there was a number of people that were rumored to maybe be up for the job. And people, like I said though, if they had randomly hired somebody and cheap, they would have been able to hire that person cheap, because that person would have got a lot of exposure, endorsements, and guitars and all this other shit, and they would have been able to sign that person really cheap and probably make a cut of their endorsements and shit too, probably. And that does happen in bands, where when a new member joins the band and gets endorsements based on their involvement with that band that's been established for a long time, they will have to pay the band a percentage of their endorsements, because they only got those endorsements because of the band. So now that would suck. That would fucking suck. Anyways, we're just chit-chatting and shooting the shit as we go from plug-in to plug-in. I was on Jambi for a while. I was on Ampcraft for a while. I was on the Fort Nameless suite for a good while. We were on Crunk for a minute. We're going to go over to the amp knob fucking knobs. And we're going to turn off the sword. Okay, I'm going to go in the cabs, turn off the cab. No cab. Tight. Tight. Very tight. Gets a bit bloated there, does. That's tight like a tiger. Lots of fun things. This is the beauty part of getting into amp sims, though. You can build your own signal chains, and by all means, these are not all active. Let's go to the screen and just show you guys that only a few of these are active right now. This is amp knob is active. My impulse response loader. I have a room verb just mostly for me, because I hate listening to dry guitar in headphones. It just, something about it makes my skin crawl. So you've got to have something there for my benefit. Otherwise, my skin will crawl. I don't want that. That sucks. I've also recently rekindled my love for the old Boss Yellow overdrives. I wasn't sure how the Super Distortion was going to handle the low B flat, and it's handling it just fine. In fact, it sounds like it's meant to be there. Although I'm noticing I do need to shave off a hair of top end, of low end rather. So we're going to do that. right here. And Rudy, thanks so much, by the way. Thank you so much for the offer, by the way, for the cat nutrition. I will email you about that. Email me, though. Can you email me just to put a bee in my bonnet on it? I'm going to turn on the sword is a great euphemism. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty funny. If only Ibanez released an 80s looking guitar, but with the 2025 full access neck bolt on. That'd be cool. Are you saying you do or don't like the HSS layout? Because I'm not a big fan. I'm not a fan. I do like the HS, but I don't like the HSS. Never have. All I end up doing in that situation with HSH or HSS, that middle pickup gets unhooked. I put in a three-way switch and I forget it exists. That's what happens. Never. I will email you then. See you later, Bo. Thanks so much for being here, brother. It's funny listening to old recordings of myself being like, man, I used to be good at something. All right, guys, we're going to check out Amp Suite Rev F. I'm not going to use my cabs because Chris did such a killer job. All-purpose metal. He did such a great job of redoing this cab section. Deck it and forget it with the middle pickup. Well, you know what I actually did? It's funny, guys. For my, you guys see me play my Gilbert, my white Ibanez Paul Gilbert PGM. You guys see me play that a lot. There is a middle pickup. It looks like there's a middle pickup in that, but it's not. All that's in there is I took a white pickup because I actually couldn't get the pickup low enough that I was actually happy with it. I want to not feel it. I want to not think about it. I don't want it there. It needs to know I don't want it there. I hate it. I have no use for that whatsoever. Not one little tiny bit. Okay? So yeah. In a situation like that, what I did is I took a white pickup cover, I stuffed it with foam, and then I dropped it super low, and then I put screws in it so that it appears there's a pickup there. But there is nothing in the middle. It's not even a slug pickup. It is nothing in there. Zero. Yeah, this rectifier really is something else, guys. What do we got going for pedals? All right, he's got, yeah, nice. I would actually go like this with it instead. Little latitude, tuned in B flat, brand new set of strings, really enjoying. I have to say, these Ernie Ball Slinky Mammoths are my new favorite thing for B flat. For B flat. I don't think I could use them in straight B. 62 for me is getting a little on the heavy side. I used to use 62s primarily in B, and then I just started liking a little bit more slack to things. And here we are. HSH is a sin. Or HSS is wrong in the eyes of God. Best 3D cap section ever. Nice. Love, 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 love that plugin. Wow, nice. This rectifier is something else. I agree. Using Bogren 410 amp knob with the Rev F. What do you mean? Using Bogren 410 amp knob with that Rev F. Oh, you mean the cab section? Oh man, I never do stuff like that. It's just asking for too many resources for me. I don't need that. I don't need that kind of headache. I never blend suites. I never do it. This is handling the B flat really nicely. The Super Distortion is staying in this guitar for a long time. I can actually, for some reason, I can really handle the way it looks now. Doesn't look bad at all. I mean, this is now, that's it. I'm not touching it. If you guys ever see another pickup in this guitar, you can yell at me because this guitar deserves its forever pickup. And this was supposed to be, and originally when I bought this guitar, this was designed to be that pickup. But for some reason, it just didn't work out. And then it did. So happy accident, because nobody wanted to buy a yellow pickup anyway. Just like nobody wanted to buy the red pickup I was selling either, which means it's going back in the guitar so I can try to make sense of that pickup. The Seymour Duncan Invader is going to be on my list of things to demo tomorrow. With my Strat, I'm going to try to do some, maybe we'll do like a punk rock or like a rock stream of some type. I'm not getting out of here just yet. Although actually we are getting pretty close to go time. Like one side use. Oh, I see what you see. Okay, never mind. I get you. You're just talking about using one side. You're talking about like stereo tracking or quad. Okay, I got you. That is a nice combo, dude. Classic punk rock, though. Classic punk rock. Mixing Marshall and Marshall with Mesa. Like, I cannot tell you how many times on a stage with my eyes I saw a band in the 90s with one side dual rec, the other side Marshall, or the other side Soldano. That so many times. It was like a formula, like metal bands or like, man, telling somebody, man, we really prefer that, you have this, this amp. Like you walk in, they already have a rig for you to use because they have their sound is kind of dialed in, like, and they don't really want you to mess with it too much. That's happened many, many times over the years. So I think that was kind of a formula in those days where it was like, we want you to have this is the sound. You know what I mean? That or a Mark series, and a Marshall. It was also a very common thing. You didn't see a lot of like super leads and stuff. It was almost always the 800. For some reason, it was like that was the amp that you saw. It was the 800, the Valve State, and there's so many other ones. So guys, I'm actually going to get going for the day. It is about that time, and I kind of want to go and spend some time with the missus. I am, in fact, Captain Dildo, and it's a city. It's a city in Ontario. It's in Newfoundland. Okay, it's in Newfoundland. Okay, there is a place in Newfoundland that is called Dildo. So no censoring me, no algorithm stuff, no funny business. What? This is a great shirt, though. It really is. You cannot tell me this isn't a great shirt. Okay, so guys, what is the sum of the stream today? The sum of the stream is that the Dimarzio Super Distortion, created in 1972. Okay, 1972, I believe, or 1971, or no, 1971 or 72. This pickup has been around for a very long time. Okay? A very long time. And it's still kicking ass. It was the sound. It was the pickup to have in the 70s. It was the pickup to have in the 80s. And it was still hung on in the 90s through lots of grunge bands were using the Super Distortion. I believe Kurt Cobain used the Super Distortion for a song and a dance, or for a good amount of time. I'm not exactly sure. He used so many pickups. So yeah, and we're using it today, 2025. How many years later we are using it, and using it for nefarious purposes, and it still kicks ass. This is not an updated technology. This is something that has existed in this true form. This is a dinosaur of a pickup, guys. Literal. This is a dinosaur of a pickup. One of the first aftermarket humbuckers that was ever made was this pickup, and it has stood the test of time and continues. As mentioned, this thing still hammers away. A couple of more chugs here, but again, we are using a piece of tech that is how old? I'm 47 years old. This thing is well older than me. So, man, that's pretty awesome that this tech has stood the test of time and consistently has provided metal hard rock guitar players and those looking for that little extra bit of bite. Is it a dated sound? What is a dated sound? It really depends more on the amp you're using and the purpose you're using it for. I'm using it in B flat with more of a modern amp sound and selection, and this thing absolutely kicked ass and took names today. So yes, it'll be living in this guitar. I don't know what I was seeing or wasn't seeing initially, but I think it looks terrific, and it's just gonna stay that way. I'm glad you guys like it. It looks terrific in a camera. Like, that's one thing about this guitar, is it really, really pops in a camera in frame. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this now that I finally have it wired up in a way that I'm really happy with. So thank you for being here. Hit that like and subscribe, and we really appreciate your time. Tomorrow will be a stream that's probably based more along the lines of skate punk, pop punk, hard rock, and I'm going to be using my Strat. We're going to be just going to have some fun with it and see what this Invader, see if I can finally, I'm going to ask the big gun on this one, okay? The big kahuna. I am going to ask Carl Sanders from Nile, a guy who knows how to make an Invader sound perfect. I'm going to ask him, what do I need to do here to get this thing to stay in this guitar? Because again, this guitar, as you'll see tomorrow, really pops in frame. It's a fun guitar to play. I will be using it here tomorrow. So I hope to see you guys then. I realize it's pop punk, skate punk, things of that sort. It's probably not the highest viewing demographic I've ever aimed at, but at the same time, we're going to be after some big sounds, we're going to be using some great sounding plugins. Some of the similar plugins that you see right now are going to be utilized tomorrow. So, and I'm going to be taking requests as usual. If you want me to try something for the purposes in which I'm using and the tones I'm after in a stream, recommend it to me and I will give it a shot. Free drums. Nice. From Chaos Tone, called Deviant Free. Nice. Guys, I also saw the most ridiculous plugin I've ever seen in my entire life today from, I think it was Carnivore Audio. It is an oven fan. An oven fan. It's literally a UI of like an oven hood with a fan, and you turn it on. I don't know what the story is exactly. They make some very interesting plugins over there. So yeah, maybe we'll try that at some point. What the fuck? An oven fan? What hour am I going to be around tomorrow? Probably about the same time, guys. I was a little late today trying to get both these guitars done. But tomorrow I'll probably be popping in here about the same time, 4:30 ballpark there somewhere. And we'll be in here armed with my Strat, and we'll be after maybe some Tom DeLonge type tones. Somebody in there, somebody in the audience, someone in the chat right now, become an expert. Actually, I should be an expert on that dude's tone. Anyways, we're going to be trying our very best to get me to love the Seymour Duncan Invader tomorrow. That is my goal. Will it happen, or will this be short-lived, and will this pickup find its way once again on the heap on top of the fridge? We'll find out tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Like and subscribe, as mentioned, and I will be seeing you. Also, jump by our Instagram sometime. We are on Instagram, the Amp-Sim Universe. Find us. It's a bit of a different vibe. We like to just promote content creators over there, and we've got some really wicked content happening on our Instagram. So please do fire us a follow over on the gram, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for being here. See you guys next time. Cheers.